somewhat better. Jeez. Look like a weirdo. I mean, more so than usual. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Monday stream here on the channel. Boy, oh boy. What a Monday stream it is going to be. I'm Warren, by the way. Hope you're all having a good start to your week. Hopefully it is more, it is not, it is helpful. Hopefully it is not too Garfield as far as a start to your week goes. How did you start your week, Warren? I'm glad you asked. First of all, I'm happy that I'm happy that I'm not sick anymore, of course. But today, I kid you not, the entire day was spent in meetings. The entire day was spent in meetings. I didn't get like any actual work done. That's for another day. Perhaps Tuesday, perhaps Wednesday. Who knows, really? Look, the important thing is that I'm here. You know, these meetings were called for. You know, I didn't like just like start something up and that was it. You know, just didn't join meetings for fun. And fuck me. But I had a lovely weekend of not being sick, so that was nice. Didn't do necessarily anything special, just a nice relaxing style weekend, which I always appreciate. You know, took it easy, hung out, went outside a bit, watched some wrestling, made a roast, cooked the roast. It's roast weather, if you ask me. I wanted to make chicken noodle soup. And I was like, nope, I'm making a roast instead. And then I'll probably make the chicken noodle soup tomorrow, which is lovely. I'm not a big fan of chicken noodle soup, but I love homemade chicken noodle soup. But like, if I, you know, in any other circumstance, you know, out of a can, or, you know, if it's served, I don't do restaurants even serve chicken. I haven't, maybe a nice restaurant that's giving you know, giving a new breath to chicken noodle soup. Maybe I'd be like, oh, I'll give that a shot. But you know, mine though, you know what the trick is? You know what, honestly, the secret, I think, to really good chicken noodle soup is? I think it's lemon juice. I think a squeeze of fresh lemon juice in there does a hell of a difference. I really like, that's what I think that's what I think makes a homemade chicken noodle soup superior to, you know, anything else, any other type of chicken noodle soup, and probably the chicken noodle soup that your mother makes. God bless your mother. You know, it's just kind of like, I don't know. It just adds that little extra kick, a little acidity, gives it a little flavor too. I feel like it elevates the whole ordeal. Because let's be honest, chicken noodle soup is not hard to make. That is some easy shit to make. Especially if you have like leftover like roasted chicken, or, you know, now you can buy like pre-cooked chicken, right? If you have those, like, that is easy peasy. But I've got some nice chicken thighs in the refrigerator that I'm going to use for that. See. Tonight I made a Korean beef bowl, so I'm not like, I shouldn't be hungry, but I'm like salivating at the thought of chicken noodle soup. I like soup. I love soup. Soup is great. Big soup fan. You know what I went and did though when I was cooking yesterday? I don't know if no, we can't see it here because it's but I splashed some oil on my hoodie here, and now it's permanently stained with oil, and that sucks because it's like my favorite hoodie. Ugh. Usually I wear an apron. I don't know why I didn't put on the apron. It's on me, I guess, at this point. But it's all right. It's good to see everyone here hanging out on this lovely, lovely Monday Eve. We're on the cusp of a big announcement for WWE. You know, you got to break the news to me. Once it pops, you got to jump in the chat and said, Warren, this is what all the foot shots were for. This is what all this is what it was all about. Oh. Is this what it was all about? You know, it's probably I think it's been out there. I think SRS mentioned it, right? It's like some kind of, has something to do with WrestleMania. It's going to be a WrestleMania announcement. I think it's really funny. I think it's really funny if it's a WrestleMania announcement, because everyone was like expecting, oh, it's Chris Jericho. But like dummies, they're not going to start advertising Chris Jericho when he's still under contract with AEW. Oh, but we're just seeing his feet. Yeah. Nonetheless, they are not going to start teasing a return of Chris Jericho until his contract is up. Dummies. Anyway, hi, Miggy O'Kenna. Nice to see you, Miggy O'Kenna. Welcome to the chat. Miggy O'Kenna, who also just happens to be a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. It's very nice to see you. Welcome. Silver Apocalypse, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Also a member of the channel. We have not had lasagna for a long time, so yeah, your day was not very Garfield-esque. DJ Convoy, nice to see you. Also a member of the channel. Welcome, welcome. Played your ball game for like 4 hours. We're talking about Ball Pit, available now. Not my game, but it's fun as hell. I think I talked about it last week. God, that game is fun. Super addictive. I've already unlocked all the characters. There's literally... Oh, no, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just... But you know what? It's a great indie game and you should play it. It's the kind of game I really, really like. And, you know, it's one of these roguelikes. Roguelikes. It's a genre I really enjoy. I'm super into. So we got it. We's done it, pals. Carlos, nice to see you. Sports and Things shows. Welcome to the chat. Let's watch some wrestling. Nice to see you too, and welcome. Finished installing the baseboards in my kitchen and painted the basement stairs, so it's time for some Ball Pit and Mr. Warren Hayes. There you go. That's the combo everyone wants. That's a great fusion right there. The boots were for the Mania promo. Did they do it? Did they release the... Did they put it on social media or whatever? It's the something with Mania. The shoes. The foot things. It's all... It was all feet related. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was all people... It was all shots of people walking. All you saw was their feet. Not their legs, their feet. Close up of the feet. You know, someone in WWE didn't realize that they could have paywalled that shit. They would like they could have put that like they literally could have put that just like behind a paywall, you know, ask people for, you know, $25-$50. So anyway. Pedro the Fifth, nice to see you too, and welcome. What do the shoes mean, Mason? Isn't like shoes a Masonic symbol? Anyway, these days shoes mean a lot more than just that. You know what? Feet in general these days, you don't give that shit away for free. I'm guessing you did not watch Halloween Havoc, neither did I, which I heard was not very good. No, sir. I did not watch the Halloween Havoc. Did not watch NXT champion Ricky Saints defend his title against Trick Williams, right? Nor did I see Blake Monroe win the women's North American title, you know, the coveted women's North American title against, I don't know who. And then they had one of the spooky girls become women's champion, right? Sounds like a hoot. Cola the Lodger, nice to see you. And welcome. My father-in-law sent me his copy of the PWI 500, and the only shot of Mystico they could find for the cover is him diving away. Let's not feature the cool looking luchador, at least facing the camera. Did they? I didn't see the cover. I didn't see the cover of the men's 500. I did not see that. I'm zero for life and not getting worked up about the PWI 500. Yeah, you know, these lists have a tendency to get people really, really excited. And let me see if I can't see it. Then maybe I can join you in this. PWI 50, 500, cover 2025. How about that? Oh, yeah, that is very weird, isn't it? That is extremely weird. Why would they do that? It's very weird. Like, okay, so on the cover, like I don't have the full cover, but here, why don't we, boom, 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 boom. We'll kill the music here. Because I got it pulled up here, so might as well show it to everyone, right? It's sliced off, but nonetheless, you get the idea. You see how everyone here. You see, these are all like, this is your top. This is your top, like, well, not the top 5. It's not the top 6 either. It's the people that are in the top 10. Out of all of these people here, only one of these people is a certified draw, and he's the guy facing away. That is very weird. I'm not gonna lie. That is a little strange. I will make sure that it doesn't happen for the women's 250 list, of which I am on the committee, of course, again this year, and of which we have concluded our list, and it is off to print. It's all, I'm saying I'm not going to let it happen. I've seen the cover. So, it's fine. The cover is fine. We don't have people, looking away or diving away. And it's good. That's all I'm going to say is that I will tell you with confidence that I am extremely pleased with the top three. I am extremely pleased. Very, very pleased with the top three of the women's 250. And it's coming out like in, when's it coming out? In November. It's coming out in November, so then we'll talk about that. Perfect timing for me to arrive, says DGMC, who left his member's message. Member for 65 months, that wackadoo. How you doing? Perfect timing for me to arrive. Mystico is a draw. There you go. There you go. Hikaru, nice to see you and welcome. Tooth surgery. That stinks. Hopefully your mouth isn't isn't completely destroyed. There you go. That's the 500. But the 250, which is the better list, because I'm on it, because I'm on the committee, it's coming out in a couple of weeks at this point. Should be very soon. I'm very, very excited for that. I'm telling you, and I am not kidding. I think the top three. I think the top three rules. I really think the top three of the women's list is exquisite. That's right. That's a list you can set. The women's 250. That's a list you can set your watch to. That's a list you bring home to your parents. Absolutely. Does it rule harder than Danielson being PWI's number one back in 2008? That's not fair. That's not fair. November 11th? I don't know when the street dates are. Is it November 11th? Is November 11th the street date, or because the digital comes out before the street date? I do know that. I don't know. We'll all find out together soon enough. Everything's been sent in. But designing these lists by committee, all right, is difficult. And even if it's people that you really enjoy working with, that you have very good relationships with, right? It's hard. It's legitimately hard because everyone typically comes in with their own expertise and their own fields of preferences and of course, biases and whatnot. And sometimes you give a little and you give a little and you cede a little. CEDE, not SEED. You give a little and you take a little, but you also give back and you take. There's a lot of that. So there's stuff that happens on these lists where it's I push for one thing and then someone else pushes for another, and since it's not the WarrenHayes list, well, I can't fight every battle. And sometimes there's things I don't necessarily agree with. There's things where I'm like, well, this is a little weird, but I more importantly got this. That, you know, no, not seethe. No one makes me seethe on the committee. But yeah, so sometimes you can't fight for it all. You just can't. Otherwise, then it's like, oh, well, this is the MrWarrenHayes list. It's like you don't want that. You don't want that. It's a collaborative effort. How many people were we in the committee? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there was 7 of us on the committee. That's I think 7, right? Yeah, we were 7. There was 7 of us. Like, that's a non-negligible number, That's a non-negligible number. So, you do your best. You argue what you can argue. And there's things that I won. There's things that I outright won. And then there's other things that I just have to let go, even though I don't necessarily agree. There's the important things have gone over. Anyway, we'll probably be able to talk about it a little more in detail when we get to, when it comes out. We certainly will. We'll go over the list. The top 10 at the very least. But I want to reiterate, want to push this home. I am very happy about the top 3. And I am sure that you as a wrestling fan, as a fan of professional wrestling, I think you will be very, very pleased with the list too. The top 3. You'll be like, oh. Look at 2024 list. Jordan Grace is number 2. Blake Monroe is number 9. I don't think that's happening this year. Mum's the word until it happens. I ain't giving anything away. Social media explodes at every PWI list, so it doesn't at this point. And here's the cool thing is that I can answer questions or whatnot, but I don't eat the blowback. It's Kevin, the editor, who unfortunately has to deal with all the fucking weirdos. All the fucking weirdos who don't even buy the magazine in the first place. So, why would he even be upset? Well, I'm not going to buy the magazine, kind of thing. But then it's like, well, okay. You weren't going to buy it anyway. Kevin Dunn? No. Boris, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Warren screaming at other committee members that about DMD not ranking higher. You've got the wrong guy, pal. You've got the wrong guy. Britt didn't even qualify to be on the list because the basic rule to qualify for being even considered to be on the list, you have to have at least had 10 matches within the evaluation period. So Britt Baker didn't even qualify. Last year, Mercedes Moné didn't qualify, if I'm not mistaken. Last year she didn't qualify, right? She had taken that, she had been out with injury, right? And then she had wrestled really sporadically right up until the evaluation, and I think she had maybe 6 matches overall. So I'm just throwing numbers out there, but she had fewer than 10. So Mercedes Moné wasn't even considered to be on the list. So you can rest assured this year she has qualified. Of course, she's had a very busy she's had a very busy year this year. So she works so she works out. People bitching Sheeta and Camille aren't on the list. What, last year? Last year or this year? Because they don't know who's on the list this year. Again, it's a question of did they qualify? I'm not I wouldn't be shocked if Hikaru Shida didn't qualify. She never wrestles anymore. Like she never wrestles anymore. And Camille, well, you know, it's whatever. I would expect Monet to be number 1 or 2. Well, you're about to find out in a couple of weeks where she is, where she ends up. But you've ended up on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Monday stream. A very slow week when it comes to pro wrestling news. Holy smokes! But you know what? We've got a few things. We're gonna squeeze as much juice as we can, and we're gonna make it happen. we're gonna try and squeeze this as much as we can. All right, trust me. We're gonna do our best here, pals. So thank you very much for being here. If you haven't already, leave a like on the video, the stream. Force a habit. Leave a like on the stream. That would be awesome. I would appreciate it so much if you did. And if it's your first time here, consider subscribing. You know, it turns out, you know, I've been looking at my stats. Been looking at my stats over the weekend, and there's a lot of most people actually who come watch my videos are not subscribers. So you're still getting my videos popping up in your feeds and whatnot, but you haven't subscribed. And, you know, that makes you weird. Well, I mean, you know, not weird, but just weird enough. Delightfully weird. So even though you're a delight, I would appreciate the subscription. I mean, you're getting the content anyway. It's showing up in your feed. Might as well just go the extra mile and say, here's a subscription. We call those people frugal. Yes, exactly. Like, show some appreciation, motherfuckers. I'm kidding. That was rough for no reason. But nonetheless, subscribe, you motherfuckers. And then when it comes to the weekend content, well, of course, Wednesday will be the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. We've got the Dynamite review on Tuesday, and yeah, I think I'm going to. I might try a little something here. Might try to review a couple of matches from the past couple of weeks that I've been picking up here and there. You know, a couple of matches in CMLL. You know, I watched Io Shirai again. I gotta do Io Shirai. Fuck it, I'm gonna call her Io Shirai and Mayu Iwatani from the Marigold Show. I watched that. You know, here's something that's going to challenge you to your very core. Are you ready for this? The Marigold Show this weekend, pretty good. Not a bad show. I thought they had a pretty good show. Maybe I'll talk about it a little more. You know, just a couple of things happening. You know, like you know, I know I haven't really talked. This channel is not family friendly. We can, why do you think I don't get sponsored? Well, because your subscribers are so low, Warren. Ah, that's true. That also contributes. Thank you for reminding me. What was I talking about? Yeah, the Mercedes Persephone match from 2 weeks back. I haven't really talked about it, and I enjoyed that match. You know, we had the Grand Prix last Friday, the Women's Grand Prix. Like, there's just stuff here and there. Queen Aminata becoming DPW World Champion, Women's Champion, I should say, Women's World Champion. Is it a World Championship? I don't remember. But you know, it's like, you know, that's the kind of stuff that you want, right? That's the kind of stuff that, you know, that's the kind of stuff you want to see. And I keep telling y'all, okay, I gotta hammer this home. I gotta drive this home. I've got to knock it out of the park, just like the Blue Jays are doing. Queen Aminata in DPW is so much more entertaining and good than in AEW, where I find AEW, like, They clearly want her to be a babyface, and she's a very, you know, classic babyface type character, right? Where she smiles a lot. She's very friendly and outgoing and whatnot. In DPW, I can't say she's a heel, but she's she's got an aggression and an edge to her that elevates everything that she does. I think she is so good in DPW as opposed to AEW, where she's fine, but that's just about it. Like, if they let her be DPW Queen Aminata, she would get over so bad. She'd be tremendous. So I'm thinking that's what I might do. I might pull up a couple of things, pull up a couple of matches, hit the record button, and hit the record button, and maybe record a couple of reviews, just sporadic stuff, and allow that to pop up first for members only of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. How about that? A little extra something for the members of the channel, because if you become a member of the channel, usually my reviews are all available in early access before the rest of the plebeians, the freeloaders, get a hold of them. So, and it also shows a little support for your boy Warren. So I think I might do that. I legitimately think I might do that. Because the, you know, I again, it's something I was thinking about this weekend, where it's like, look, I don't review WWE anymore. So that frees me up so much. Like, you have no idea how refreshing it is to not feel compelled to watch pro wrestling you really don't like. That's really a freeing thing. But it takes away like reviews that you could be giving, that you could be doing, right? So, like, on one hand, yes, it's very liberating to no longer watch WWE, but then again, the entertainment value of listening to me shit all over an NXT pay-per-view is also lost in the process. But then again, my mental health is in a very good spot, right? Which is also very good. Which, you know, something to consider in all of this. So I probably would. So then, you know, what do I watch frequently as well then? Well, I watch a lot of CMLL, right? But CMLL is weird to review, like in the ways that we're used to it, because it's, you know, the shows are kind of like it's disconnected, you know, and basically it'd be me sitting down saying, oh yeah, this match was pretty good, this match was great, this one, you know, and there's nothing for me to clasp on and to really dig my claws into, if that makes sense. So you know, it's like I'll pull, you know, I could pull out notable matches and stuff like that, but you know, it's not the same as reviewing Dynamite, where you have the stories and the implications and the booking and all that. You still have booking implications in CMLL, but like it's not this, like it'd be the shortest review show on earth, like 15 minutes. I'd probably be able to get it to 30 because that's who I am. Where's Warren's World Tag League coverage? Exactly. It stinks. I'm not doing it. I've come to a place where I don't feel like I have to watch / review anything I don't like anymore. Like, I tried doing that, and then at some point I enjoy pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling, and I should focus on the things I want to watch. And this is not a job. It is still, you know, it is still a hobby for me until this thing can pay my mortgage. I am not going out of my way to do things that I don't feel like doing, essentially. I really, that's That's for sure what I'm not doing. I'm 100% not doing that. So yeah, World Tag League every year World Tag League. I'm like, nah, I'm not watching that. Super Junior Tag League, nah, I'm not watching that either. Especially since there's a lot of things that feel really thrown together this year. You know, in my circles, there are some people who are watching it and the buzz is dead. Like there's nothing happening. Not into it. I'm really not. I've been long time not into it. I'm excited for New Japan to announce that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be Hiroshi Tanahashi's final opponent, and that's gonna be something. That's going to be something. Hobbies should be fun. I agree. I need daily NWA Sawane updates. No. No, you don't. You think you do, but you don't. This week on Warren Watch. Ooh, I don't hate that. I don't hate the I don't hate that that little label. Warren Watch. I'm not on DPW compared to AEW. Reminds me of Adam Cole and PWG compared to Ring of Honor 12, 13 years ago. I think that's a good comp. I agree. I'm here for heel Laminata, who honestly, like, if you're watching DPW, you know what AEW is missing out on. And if you're not, then you have no idea what AEW is missing out on. She's such a good fucking heel. She's so good. CMLL is fun to watch, hard to review. Yeah, I agree. Because otherwise it's like move breakdowns. You know, I saw recently something really funny. Someone sent me the link. Was it on the Discord? Was it on Discord or on one of my group chats? I don't remember. But it's like some guy taking one of the Kenny Okada matches. I can't remember which one, but it doesn't matter. That's not relevant to the story. But it is relevant that it was one of the Kenny Okada matches, not the G1 one. One of the big ones, right? And he starts his thread saying on Reddit, on Squared Circle, starts by saying, here is my breakdown and analysis of Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega, whatever one it was. And the post is like, the post is like a novella, okay? But not because the person is fueling the novella with original thoughts and whatnot. It's mostly a move by move breakdown. And when I say move by move breakdown, I'm like, the person is calling the wrist locks, the headlocks, the ground game. Everything is called in this. Like it's like it was court ordered to break down the minutia of the match, and there is no analysis provided within it. Let me see if I can find it. And it's a fairly new post. Was this one it? Was this it? No, that's a poll. Oh. No, that's an old post. That's not it. No, I don't think I'm gonna. I wouldn't read it. It's not to read it that I would like to show you, but I'm like, oh no, that's not it. This guy sort of breaks down the story, which is interesting. That's fine. What's in psychology? The importance of Maybe they deleted the post too. I'm sorry. I can't find it. It's tremendous. Oh, hi, Kristen. How are you, darling? Welcome to the chat. Member of the channel on top of that. Both my girlfriend and a member. There's perks to being a member. There's perks to being a member. Can you help? Can you find there's on Reddit, of all godforsaken places, on Reddit, there's a guy who wrote a blow-by-blow recap of an entire Kenny Omega Kazuchika Okada match. And I don't want to spend like 6 minutes looking for it here while I'm live. If you can find it, it'd just be funny just to show the fucking like wall of text. Because it's literally like just a wall of text and there's no analysis. There's nothing provided. I'm saying all of this because, you know, that's essentially what it would be, I think, if you wanted to do proper reviews of CMLL. It's like blow by blow. And, you know, I think it's okay. Like, don't get me wrong. I used to do the blow by blow stuff. And, you know, I think like as a warm up, you know, as you get more confident in critiquing and whatnot, you know, I think you start by doing the blow by blows. That makes sense. And then eventually you sort of leave some stuff behind and then you start talking about the highlights. I like to talk about the highlights, the sequences that really got you going and whatnot. And even like for 5-star matches, I still think it's not super relevant to go blow by blow. Instead, you talk about, I think as a critique, as a criticism, as a critiquer, you break down, you know, how the match was executed overall, how you felt about it, what it made you feel. You know, you talk about how it all came together. Talk about the story of the match as opposed to like wrist lock, you know, reversed into an ankle lock, reversed into a fucking Boston Crab, reaches over, Kenny Omega, you know, slides, slides to his side, and you know, anyway, that kind of stuff. So I don't want to I can't outright poo-poo it because for a while I would do that. I was guilty of that. There was something really wrong about it, but I think you do it at first as a way to wet your whistle, get you comfortable with, you know, the medium and finding your voice, most importantly. And then when you do find your voice, well, then it's like, well, no, you know, you don't have to break this down blow by blow, because chances are most people that you are talking to will have seen that match. So you're not trying to sell them on the match. You're trying to sell them on how good it was, essentially. Anyway. When I write about matches, I rarely write about moves unless they are outstanding. People look for me to know how the matches made me feel or what I took away from the match. Exactly. Like that's the point, ultimately, is what you realize down the road. It's like, yeah, it's not the blow by blow stuff. You know, which match? I don't know. It's like it's one of the Kenny Okada matches, but I don't remember which one. I'm sorry, I can't be more of a help. It's one of the New Japan ones. It's not the one they had in at All In this year. I don't think. I'm pretty sure it was one of the New Japan ones. You will get Shibata as Tana's last opponents, and you're going to like it, god damn it. I mean, I'd like it. I'd be completely fine with that. Don't get me wrong. It's just, you know, New Japan is not going to let that guy wrestle in one of their rings forever and ever again. All right. Let's do this then. Let's go see our boy Jacques here. I think he might have. I think our boy Jacques here might have something to say. That's right. Booyah! Oh, wait, we don't have audio? I just realized we don't have audio. Hang on, we're doing this again. We're doing this again. We don't have audio. What the fuck? We didn't have audio, right? Sucks. Let's do this again.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Jacques Moliere. Just let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nunchuck master, and I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling.
Booyah! There we go. That's better. That's better. Jacques knows nothing of chicken soup. Patrick, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat, member of the show. You know, the more we look at the locker room in which Jacques performs, right? And let me just.
How you doing, everybody?
Like, the more you look at it, right? Like, you know, there's spots here and there, you know, there's scuff marks here. Have you ever noticed the scuff marks on the back of the wall here? You know, the spots. Oh, well, like, okay, this is like this. Okay, no, those are showers. I just realized. You know, more scuff marks down here. Like, it's a very grody, locker room. Right? Very gross. Do people still say grody? Did I just like dig up something from like 1987 or something? Like from the West Coast? Am I suddenly like, is my inner surfer resurfacing? I see what I did there. It's like, yeah, I think we've all come to accept that the dents in the vent here are 100% due to Jacques' expertise. But the double exposure fade was Jacques' artistic choice. You know, the first time we saw this, we laughed really, really hard. And I think we all came to a conclusion that it was not indeed Jacques' choice. That in fact, this was the editor's way of having a little fun at Jacques' expense. I would assume a man like Jacques Moliere, okay, who legitimately has like, see-through plexiglass nunchucks, and who wears, as you can see here, holstered, a butterfly knife. I don't think he would be the type of guy to make light of his incredible pursuits here. I would argue, and I think this was the consensus at the time. Those of us who were around watching this when we saw this video for the first time, I think it is safe to assume that the editor was having a little fun at his expense. That the editor got the footage and was like, all right, try hard. We're going to have a little fun with this. Can you get Jacques in for an interview? We got a man on the case. We just can't find him. We don't know where he is. We're trying. And this is a shoot. Fred Moreland from The Good, the Bad, and the Hungry, friend of the show. He's doing some digging, but we cannot find the guy. Mr. Antox, nice to see you and welcome. He made top 5 in Mountain State. It looks like he shot it on the stairwell of his shoot job during his lunch. I mean, he does look like he's at his shoot job, but the thing is that he always wore, he always wore like, you know, the shirt and tie combo. Yeah, all the time. And it's wild because I really thought, like, when Fred first introduced me to Jacques Molière, I thought this was going to be like a French dude gimmick, right? Because it's a really fucking French name, Jacques, and Molière, which is very French, and also like a classical famous playwright from France, like the French Shakespeare was named Molière. So I'm thinking, without ever seeing the guy, I'm like, oh, this is okay. So they're doing like a Parisian French gimmick, and he's gonna do, you know, I will get you in the ring with my baguette, you know, kind of thing. It'd be, you know, just playing up really, really hard the stereotypes. Look at me, I do not shave my armpits, you know. But turns out he's like an accountant from Jersey. Why is he, you know, Jacques Molière? It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Risking the wrath of a certain Mr. Key? Yes. Look, you'll know that Jacques Molière will never get booked in New Japan. That's the one thing you can be assured of. What shoot job requires showers? How about police officer? I mean, I know of a lot of places that have showers. Some of the bigger companies, they have showers because, let's say, they'll have, especially if it's companies that encourage their employees to partake in physical activity. So let's say they'll have like they'll have people come in to work on bike, or, you know, there'll be like a biking club or a jogging club where people go out and jog over lunch or whatever. Well, then you come back and you kind of want to shower before sitting back down in your cubicle, right? You can't, if you went outside and you jogged for like 25, 30 minutes in the July sun, you know, I'm pretty sure the rest of the team will appreciate that you shower up before coming back to the cubicle. What if you had baguette instead of nunchucks? That's the there you go. Now we've got the connective tissue. That two really fucking stale baguettes. You know how baguettes get really, really hard when they're stale? You know, they get like rock hard. You put two of those, you connect the chain, and now he's doing it. This is all I got tonight. But we're going to make this work, fellas and ladies. Don't worry. Why isn't Speedball doing this gimmick on TV? Hey, remember, Jacques Molière is a guy who stood up to Nick Aldis, right? And it turned into, it looked like it was a shoot. Remember that? I feel like it's been a while, and there's some new people on the stream. Let me see here. What was the, fuck me. It would, no, not Nick Aldis, Scrap Daddy, fucking Adam Pierce. No, see, that's the Johnny Blast thing. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Because basically, okay, thank you, darling. Because it's part of another match, and I know it's not. I know it's not the. It's not this one here. It's not the Johnny Blast thing. Because Adam Pierce, who was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion at the time, he went to Mountain State, and he pissed Jacques off. Like, he told him, like, in front of the crowd, right? He said something or something happened. I don't quite remember. And it pissed Jacques off. And Jacques went to get his nunchucks. And shit got really tense. And you could tell that this was not scripted because Pierce was like, who is this insane asshole that I'm dealing with right now? See, look how sad this is. Even the fucking AI, even the AI doesn't know who Jacques Molière is. Look at this. Jacques Molière, a 17th century French playwright, actor, and satirist, known for his flames like Tartuffe and the Misanthrope. No one knows who Jacques Molière is, and there's a lot to love. It's Fred that showed us the video. Look, we'll circle back to this another time. We'll circle back around to this another time. He's a time traveler, if only. That would be exciting. Maybe that's how he picked up his nunchuck skills. Link in Discord. Did you find it? No, but I think that's the... Yeah, no, but that's just the description of the event, right? I think. Or do they have footage of it? Oh, they do have the footage of it. Oh, I thought it was just like recounting the story. All right, let's watch a little bit of this.
Jacques went overboard. Or if you like 3 more words, Jacques wigged out.
Jacques.
Here's the deal, okay?
Yes,
Here's
tell
the
us.
deal.
Tell
Here's
us,
the
Johnny
deal.
Blast. Yes.
Real quick and in a nutshell.
Okay. Real
Stroh's
quick.
wrestling Adam Pearce. It's in Princeton. Okay. So Stroh and Adam Pearce.
The former
Adam Pearce, NWA
maestro.
World Champion.
WCW maestro.
I'm supposed to wrestle Adam Pearce for the NWA title the next night in Hinton. The setup was Stroh and Adam Pearce are in the ring. Boris Dragoff and Lance Erickson hit the ring. And then me and Nick Dinsmore, Eugene, hit the ring after that to make the save. Adam Pearce is supposed to go over, get the microphone, and lay out what's going on tomorrow night in Hinton.
Thank you,
set
Patrick.
That whole thing
This
up.
is the thing. Okay.
So he goes over to Jacques Molière and he's going to snatch the microphone from him. And I don't know if Jacques wasn't smartened up or just or heat of the moment or whatever. But Jacques, Adam goes to jerk the microphone out of Jacques' hands, and Jacques will not let go. Jacques is not going to relinquish the microphone.
Look, if you had nunchuck skills like Jacques Molière, you wouldn't release the microphone that easily either, right?
Serves correctly, Adam Pearce either forcibly took the microphone away from Jacques or forcibly took the microphone away from Jacques and shoved him. But in any occurrence, Adam Pearce ended up with the microphone and Jacques Molière was propelled backwards.
Look. Like, this was a shoot. Like, this looks like a shoot. This really does look like a shoot. It's tremendous.
So Adam goes and cuts the promo. We are all in the ring. Me, Eugene, and Stroh. We're all in the ring. Adam Pearce is on the floor, cutting his promo on the microphone. We've lost track of Jacques. Not sure where he's at.
That sounds so ominous. We lost track of Jacques. We don't know where he is.
Then the
Yeah.
way the ring is positioned, it's over near the side door at the rec center in Princeton. And all of a sudden, the door comes flying open. And in comes Jock, and he's got nunchucks in his hands. And Jock is fairly familiar with the nunchucks.
His fucking mall ninja rep.
And he's got nunchucks in his hands.
Look at him go.
And Jock is fairly familiar with the nunchucks. And he is coming for Adam Pearce's ass, and he is going to whip him with them damn nunchucks. When he got...
This was 100% a shoot. There is no way Adam Pearce accepted to do this, especially since this guy here, Johnny Blast, was supposed to be the challenger to Adam Pearce's title the next night. So, is one of these circumstances where, oh, you came to save me, I respect you, I'll give you a shot at my title tomorrow kind of thing.
Not about ringside. Eugene looks at me and says, I swear to you, this is the craziest fucking shit I have ever seen at wrestling in my life.
Can you imagine? Nick Dinsmore is telling you this is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
And I'm not getting out of this ring. Someone, I think it was a few wrestlers and some security, of what little security you have at independent wrestling, subdued Jock before he could get back to Adam.
Subdued Jock.
Dear Lord. That was quite possibly the biggest fucking shitstorm I've ever seen or been involved in at a wrestling show, and it never occurred to me until I was on the ride home. We finally got the melee qualmed and everything, and everybody, cooled off and got their shit together and got their shit packed up and got out of the building and everything. And I got almost home, and I realized to myself, you're supposed to have a shot at that World Heavyweight title tomorrow night in Hinton. And there was so much goddamn hell raised tonight in Princeton, the promotion's going to probably fucking shut down. You're going to get fucking cut off at the fucking finish. You're going to make it that goddamn close to getting a fucking shot at a legitimate world title. At the world title you looked up to when you were a kid, and it's going to be gone like that. I thought, and I was so relieved the next day to find out that Hinton had not been canceled, and I was still getting my title shot.
Can you imagine? I mean,
Jock.
If you look at the little scrap, I'm convinced it's a shoot. If you look at the scrap that Scrap Daddy and Jacques Moliere have.
Let go. Relinquish the microphone. Pierce Jock, or forcibly took the microphone away from Jock and shoved him. Right? But in any occurrence, and Jacques Moliere was propelled backwards. Okay.
Pierce is just...
So Adam goes and...
So of course, Pierce is, he's alpha mailing on him. He basically tosses him to the floor. Jacques seems to trip on his feet, and Jacques not going to take it. He has to come assert dominance. Look at this fucking mall ninja. Look at this mall ninja shit right here. He's incredible. See, this is why we celebrate Jacques Moliere here on the Mr. Warren Hayes show. And he never had any match with Pierce, which continues to support the theory that this was all a shoot. And Pierce is like, fuck this guy. Fuck him. I'm not giving this guy a match in any way, shape, or form. It clearly took more than the outfit of a certain Mr. Key. The Pierce Moliere blood feud could have saved the NWA from itself. I mean, it had some juice. When does Jacques show up on Raw and challenge Adam Pearce again? Can you imagine? No one will understand. On the plus side, it was a nunchuck, not the butterfly knife. Correct. That is, you are absolutely correct. And it's a wild story. It's a wild, wild story. This is why we celebrate him here on the show. Underrated crazy guy. Thank you for being here. So this week I got a little ticked off when I saw this specific post show up on my Blue Ski feed, and it's it's one of these aggregators, right? Wrestling Exposed. I have no idea who they are. It doesn't matter, but they decided to add this little. They did like all great aggregators do, right? Is that they wait for the Observer to be released digitally on the Friday, and then they pick at any of the quotes that they have. And when I say they, hang on, I'm sorry, I'm giving them way too much credit. Let's start over. They wait for the other aggregators who aggregate from the Observer to put out aggregation quotes and headlines and whatnot, so that then they can copy off of that and give it like a little more of a twist. Because look, I apologize for giving credit to an aggregator like Wrestling Exposed. I apologize for giving them credit for being a subscriber to the Wrestling Observer. They're just picking up quotes and whatnot, right? They couldn't screen cap the text from the Observer because they're not subscribed. At the very least, if they did that, it'd be like, well, they're idiots, but they're subscribed. But this was what was aggregated. One independent promoter who reportedly inquired about booking Mercedes Moné claimed her appearance fee was $25,000. Now, I have the Observer, and I was upset when I read this because there was obviously a lot of context that was let out. There's a lot of words that accompanied what was said here, and a lot of words that made that Dave put together to give like a hefty explanation, as to why he was talking about this. And lo and behold, I have the Observer right here, and I'm going to read from it. I highlighted the passage. Are you ready for this? Okay, I'm going to read the whole quote. The entire section of the Observer where Dave writes about Mercedes Moné allegedly asking a promoter for 25 grand. Okay. This was something that came up after due to an interview that Tony Khan had given, or maybe it was like at the post show or whatever. Tony Khan said the following statement: "With all the commitments Mercedes has taken on, I think it's really impressive. I've said it before and I'll say it again. That shows it's not about pure greed and money for Mercedes, because a lot of these places she's wrestling, Winnipeg, Canada, Denmark, they're not the highest paying places. She's not really making money from these. She loves wrestling. She loves building up companies. She loves meeting new young stars. And she really cares about the craft and the sport of wrestling." Okay, that's the Khan quote, which led Dave to do a little bit of analysis, right? Which is what you expect from Dave Meltzer. Here's the full quote here. I don't know what she's been paid in different places, but one independent promoter who inquired about her noted it was a $25,000 per appearance figure. Now, if that's all that Dave said, that'd be fine and dandy. You'd be like, okay, this aggregator was accurate, but hold your horses. There may be and probably are different deals cut elsewhere, and it's also possible it's people who she isn't interested in working for who get that quote. In the places where she's won titles, one would think you'd want at least 2 dates, and in places like CMLL and Rev Pro, it's more than 2 dates because she would have to drop the titles back, at least in theory. Doesn't that make sense? Like, you're not going to pay her $25,000 for one appearance and then she makes off with your title, right? Doesn't that, it makes sense, right? It was noted to us that that's a very difficult price, and the promoter in question turned it down. Well, of course, I don't know who this independent promoter was, but of course, 25 grand is difficult for an indie promotion. Like, there's no indie promotion, as far as I know, that is bringing in talent at 25 grand an appearance. Like, Monet knows if she does that, she knows she's pricing herself out of the market. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. For example, I've never heard, this is still Dave talking. For example, I've never heard of anyone being paid $25,000 in CMLL or close to that. And they've had some major stars there: Jericho, Moxley, MJF, Danielson, unless perhaps for the biggest stars losing their mask. So what Dave is saying here is, I've never heard, like, even in big promotions like CMLL, that have notoriety and, are renowned, even they don't pay 25 grand a pop. And they had the Jerichos and the MJFs and the Moxleys and the Danielsons. Top people now working Arena Mexico are not doing it for the money, but they are like major actors working Broadway for less money than they'd make in movies or TV because they are doing it for fun or to hone their skills. Arena Mexico has replaced PWG as the place a lot of people work now for less money because it's a fan base they want to work in front of. Generally, the highest paid indie guys right now are charging $5K. Frankly, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. Like, a guy like Matt Cardona is charging. So once you get all of this in context, once you read the whole thing, you're like, oh, wait a second. This is not the story. One independent promoter reportedly inquired about and inquired and was told it's 25,000. That's not the whole story. And Dave essentially takes the time then to break down how this seems really weird and that it's probably a quote that was sent to a promoter that they didn't want to work with because she knew she was so out of price range that they wouldn't bring her in. They didn't want to say outright no. They just said 25,000. And then they're forced to decline because there's not an independent promotion in North America right now that has that kind of money. Not GCW. No one has $25,000 to drop on one appearance on one wrestler. But this was preying off of the idea that, off of the fact that people who talk about wrestling online have no idea what indie wrestlers make. They probably think indie wrestlers make thousands of dollars a week, running their little shindig indies. But boy, I'd have news for them. Not 25,000. 25,000 is so unrealistic. And I want to keep going here because the story really doesn't stop here. So I quote post this on Blue Sky, right? Why don't we go to it so that you can see the exact quote here? And I basically said essentially what I told all of you here. What aggregators like this won't add for context, as also reported by Dave, is that this fee was probably thrown out to promotions that Monet doesn't want to work with. There is no conceivable way an indie promotion can afford $25,000 for a pro wrestler. Top indie guys make around $5,000. And that's exactly what Dave said, right? So in all likelihood, as I continued here, she's not likely making 25 large per appearance. Dave even doubts she got paid that much for Arena Mexico. That was my initial stuff. And it all seemed to me like very reasonable. Chat, am I being weird, or was this like all very reasonable on Dave's part? His breakdown of the situation. Look, Dave is Dave, right? Might not be the most eloquent way to write things, but doesn't it seem like it was perfectly reasonable from Dave to just break it down the way he did to give us this level of analysis? Doesn't it? I don't think I'm out of place here, am I? It seems completely reasonable. So, of course, this story gets picked up by, the poison-brained anti-Monet fans that are out there who hate the belt collecting gimmick, who hate Mercedes, right? Who cannot stand the fact that she's being successful outside of WWE all on her own. And they're running with this, and I can't believe she's, she's getting paid $25,000 a pop, and she really is not. She really, really is not. Like, again, there's no way. Like, for indies, there is no way. Here's in case you don't know, typically, an indie promotion will pay an appearance fee, right? And will pay for transportation and lodging. That's usually what an independent promotion does when it's inviting wrestlers in to work at their promotion. That's typically what's expected. And there's no way, right? There's no way. So I think overall, the haters essentially, they all went completely nuts over this and decided to just like make this part of their headcanon that Mercedes Moné is awful and needs to be stopped, right? Now I did my little assessment of the situation, basically pointing my finger at the aggregators and saying, this is what Dave said. And then I realized, well, I attracted another type of wrestling fan out there, and I know they're out there. I just didn't expect to see any. I saw the anti-Dave crew, people who have an instinctive repulsion for Dave Meltzer for whatever reason, right? Who came in and started arguing, that, oh, of course, Dave, basically saying, essentially, well, why is Dave so fixated on how much she's making? Because this is part of the story that he wanted to convey, because he got some news and delivered the news. He delivered what he heard and added some information to it. So, and I got a lot of that. It's like, successful woman making money, and now everyone's always focused on how much she's making. Just let her be, kind of thing. And I'm like, and I think people were missing the point of my observation here, and I pointed it out. There are some people going out there saying she is charging. This is the point, right? There is someone going out there saying that she is charging $25,000 for indie appearances. That's a bad thing, because indie promotions cannot foot that bill, and it's giving the impression she's gouging them. Dave got the report and rebuffed it. That's it. I know this story combines two very volatile subjects, Mercedes Moné being successful and Dave Meltzer. But my original point was to show that the aggregators don't have the full story. Jumping to conclusions instead of reading how it was broached in the Observer is exactly why aggregation stinks. And it's exactly why the anti-Dave reactions that I got stunk as well. Because the minute that you read what Dave was saying, it's a defense. He's not trying to bury her. He's not trying to go along with it. He doesn't have a weird fixation. He's like, hang on a second. She was told here. The story that was being spread by a promoter was that she was asking an inordinate amount of money. And Dave went to proceeded to say why it doesn't make sense and how it cannot make sense. Basically, backing up what Tony Khan said, where he's like, for Mercedes, it's not about greed. It's about, working in new places. That's essentially it, right? But I had all these people coming in and with questions about Dave's integrity and all that. And I'm like, okay, this is a whole other level of weird, because I promise you, had it been anyone else than Dave, they would have been like, oh, this all makes sense. But since it's Dave, then we suddenly get angry, we get upset. Suddenly he has a vendetta, right? Because I think the vision is that Dave is a misogynist. He doesn't like women, right? He doesn't like women wrestlers. He's got this weird thing about him. And look, I know where that reputation comes from. It mostly comes, at least in modern times, it comes from his handling of the speaking out situation, which was not great. And he deserves a ton of criticism for that. Is he a misogynist? I don't know. I don't think so. He never came across as a misogynist. Doesn't come across as one. He was just not equipped to handle it. And all the criticisms that you want to give him regarding his coverage of the speaking out movement are absolutely valid. It was relatively disastrous. It wasn't good. So if Mercedes, but not so. Excuse me. The thing here, though, is that Mercedes right now is very polarizing, and Dave is also very polarizing, and it's almost as if instantly the two have to be on two separate places. It's as if you like Mercedes Moné, you have to hate Dave Meltzer for some reason. And I don't know. I don't know why that is. Like, I don't understand why that kind of situation exists. Because honestly, I thought Dave's coverage here was extremely fair. I thought it was extremely fair. There's only so much there's only so much Dave can say that will not get twisted in a way that will attempt to make him look bad. And the thing here is that people, laid upon, and I mentioned it, but I'll reiterate it. It's the idea that Mercedes is a woman, and apparently we're not. Dave isn't obsessing over what other people make. Well, so why is she obsessing over what she made, right? Which is also false. Which is also 100% false. Because you know who was obsessed? You know who else Dave Meltzer was obsessed with in regards to how much he was making or is making? It's Kazuchika Okada when he entered AEW. Remember the $5 million contract? Remember those talks? Remember that? The $5 million contract? That didn't come out of nowhere. That wasn't something that was being discussed openly by Okada. This is stuff that, if I remember correctly, sort of bubbled up to the surface regarding by Dave on The Observer or on one of his podcasts. And to think that Dave has never ever talked about what pro wrestlers make is insane. Because he's been keeping an eye on that for decades. He knows how those trends go. So I kind of felt like there was some kind of brain poison happening in regards to Mercedes, where people who want to defend Mercedes instantly see like the most minuscule bit of criticism as something terrible that needs to be quashed, that there's some weird type of or there's some kind of weird conspiracy against her and it needs to be stopped. Especially coming from Dave, who right now, online, particularly on Twitter, is maligned. Because you've had dopes like Eric Bischoff and others like Bruce Pritchard, who just sat behind a microphone and slandered Dave over and over again without the guy ever having a chance to defend himself or try to prove the opposite. And somehow it's like then it's become the anti-Dave show up and down the online wrestling space. So, so Mercedes right now, who is getting a lot of criticism from an unfair, unjust criticism, mind you, she's, excuse me, she becomes the focus of Dave Meltzer for a few lines, like a paragraph. And then somehow this is Dave being Dave and Dave is awful and so on and so forth. And Dave is literally just doing his job. And not only just doing his job, basically defending Mercedes in this circumstance and saying, yeah, whoever's going around saying 25K doesn't make any sense because she's not even paid that when she goes to CMLL for her big appearances. And that's a bigger promotion. And they're not paying her $25,000 per appearance. So it's probably just a number that they threw out to her, to that promotion in a way to say, yeah, we're not really interested in working with you. So we threw out the most ridiculous amount of money. You think she went to the fucking, the Danish promotion in Denmark, right? You think she went there and expected a $25,000 stipend? Like, think with your minds for a second, people. None of this makes sense. And the way Dave approached it makes a lot of sense. But because it was Dave, there was some pushback. And people got angry. And I was like, wait, you're missing the point here. Because just like the aggregator didn't post the entire quote, you're creating a judgment without having read the full quote either. So it's two sides of the same coin to a degree here. And it's a shame. It's a shame because this is where discourse gets lost. This is why we can't talk about pro wrestling on Twitter anymore, because the adults have all left the room and it's all just junk. And it's all just junk now. It's just people doing exactly what happened here. Just screeching and being tribal and unreasonable. Thinking that a one sentence aggregator just captured an entire story. Preposterous. Hey, Big Man Dogs, nice to see you. And welcome to the chat. It pops me that both E-Drones and the Elite Fleet can't stand Dave. Yeah, and it's funny because they both accuse each other. They both accuse Dave of being in the pocket of the other company. You know, like it's completely preposterous. It's hilariously stupid. Because I think for a while, AEW fans saw Dave as an ally, but then he started talking real complimentary about WWE when it was really fucking hot with the Bloodline and Cody coming in, and then they saw that, which was again fair commentary. That, you know, some things I thought I didn't agree with him, and that's what normal humans are able to do. Normal grown-up humans, they're able to disagree on things without, setting the house on fire. But a lot of people went and torched Dave's house, figuratively speaking, of course, when he started saying, when he talked about Triple H being Book of the Year. Again, something that I don't agree with, that I think he was off base. But that doesn't necessarily make him suddenly bought and paid for by WWE. Just like those years when he made Tony Khan Booker of the Year, and then suddenly he's in the pocket of, it wasn't suddenly. It's a mixture of things, right? Because of that video with Kenny Omega and whatnot. The Young Bucks. Dave will tell people reading is your friend, and they'll be like, wrong, I don't have any friends. That's pretty much it. That is true, though. Becoming a global ambassador to the sport under the guise of one of the greatest heel belt collector runs of all time is some serious 4D chess, and doing it as the target of every shill on the internet is incredible. He's very good at it. Aggregation assault with malicious intent. I like that. I like aggregation assault. I really like that. Like Dave today in a tweet dropped an incredible word talking about, the lying podcasters, and made up a new portmanteau and called them the fraudcasters, which is incredible. It's an incredible word. And I'm so upset I didn't think about it beforehand, but it's absolutely going to enter my lexicon. I'm going to use that whenever I can. I am so excited to talk about Bubba Ray Dudley so that I can use the term fraudcaster. I'm so stoked. There are plenty of reasons to criticize Dave Meltzer, but these idiots try to make it a zero-sum game. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And they all think that it's going to be so much better when he's gone, but it's not. They all think that once Dave retires, if he ever does, passes away most likely, that everything is going to be so much better, but it's not. It really isn't. And I don't think wrestling fandom is ready for a post Dave Meltzer world where it's all these all the engagement farmers who are going to be at the forefront of trying to bring news and analysis. They're just I don't know if people don't realize how cooked they are ultimately. When it has become a next level modern heel, this has some Andy Kaufman level shit. Some podcasters make a lot of content based on hating Dave. This is very true. Winnipeg Wrestling was on Twitter asking TK for 10 grand. Where'd they get the 25K from? Doesn't add up. And wasn't the guy, the guy from WPW, right? Didn't he say, look, I went and got her at the airport and I spent the day with her, took her to her appearances, did the meet and greets, and he was like, she's super chill. He was like, we had a lovely time, drove her to her hotel after the match. The guy was like, it's, of course, your mileage will vary in these circumstances, but if you're getting a superstar, like a true to form superstar coming to your promotion, well, that's what you do. You take care of them, right? You drive them around, you make sure that they have everything, they never run out of water. That's just par for the course. That's just how things go. Because, you're like, they'll be able to say that they'll be able to tell their wrestling friends, oh, these guys are pros. We had such a nice time. Or they might come back. It's the automatic assumption of bad faith that's really irritating. Yes, it is. That's a very, that's the best point right there. It's like an instant... It's an instant visceral reaction that if Dave is talking about someone you like, it's probably not good. But it's like, it's like the it's like trying to find the right words here. It's like if he said, it's like you said, Cola, right? There are people who are just waiting for him to say stuff to go after him. And there's a lot of stuff to be critical in regards to Dave Meltzer, but you also should be in a position to just say the right thing, right? To be able to say the right thing when he does something right. And in this circumstance, this is a great example where it's like, there's no reason to get mad here. And if anything, you should be like, oh, good job, Dave Meltzer, even though I don't like you, you stuck up for my girl, kind of thing, or whatever parasocial relationship you want to have with Mercedes Moné. Aggregators would be out of a job without ripping off the Observer, because who would they go to then? Fightful, PW Insider? Yeah, but I mean, it's not just it's not just a question of ripping off the news. It's like Dave's acumen for the business and understanding how things work and the people that he talks to. He provides more than breaking news. and I will acquiesce that he's done a lot less in recent years, but he's supposed to provide analysis and thoughts and like deep dives into the inner workings of the business. And, you know, Mike Johnson doesn't do that. And you know, Sean does to a certain degree, but like he stays away from ratings talk and pay-per-view buys and all of that because, you know, he feels it's not his wheelhouse. You know, and Sean is very capable on talking about the stories that he has and does his own analysis sometimes on some of the stories that he covers. But then Dave, the thing is that Dave has been doing this for 40 years at this point. It's going to create a void in how the coverage of pro wrestling is going to, how it's going to take shape moving forward once he's gone. It's not just a question of how will the aggregators eat. I don't give a shit about them. It's more of a question of how will we fans continue to perceive pro wrestling and explore how and explore its mechanisms and how it works and how it comes together and the stories that make it what it is. How are we going to continue that forward? I don't think there's anyone as embedded into that as Dave Meltzer is. Embedded, I think, is the right word. It's funny, most Dave takes this year have piled on him about having hang on. It's funny, most Dave takes this year, people have piled on him, have turned out to be true. Like the Seth injury. He didn't even break that story, but he got all the shit. No, it was John Pollock. It was first like, no, there's something fishy here. And Dave sort of like, yeah, no, there is something fishy here. And then he ate all the shit about it, and it turns out he was right. They were both right. It was fishy. It didn't make sense. Wait, who are we beefing with? The aggregators or the grifters? Do we have to pick? Can it be both? Why not both? Let's talk about the AEW Women's World Tag Team Title Tournament that is going to be starting very, very soon on AEW. The brackets were revealed last week at the World's, not World's End. What was the Wrestle Dream? They were revealed. No, hang on. The tournament was revealed at Wrestle Dream, and then the brackets were revealed on Dynamite last Wednesday. Good job, Warren. You're able to get your timelines in order. These are the. This is what the brackets look like with the teams that have been included in the tournament. Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata will be taking on the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Mercedes Moné and Athena will be taking on Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron. Riho and Alex Windsor will be facing Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. And Anna Jay and Ty Mello, a.k.a. Tay J, will be taking on Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. And they have a tag team name, but I don't remember what it is. It doesn't. The Goddesses of Lust. That's not it. I'm sure someone in the chat knows. They have a tag team name. No, Top Gods is the thing with FTR. Top Gods is when Megan Bayne is doing shit with FTR. They have a name. It's like the the fellows of finesse, something. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But they're supposed to have like some kind of, overly complicated name that I can't remember. If only it was every villain is lemons. Ross, come on. Nice to see you, member of the channel. They should call themselves just like Janella's exes, and that'd be great. Well, no, Megan Bain's not an ex, but he has a type at the very least. It's not mega bad either. My God, people. So those are the brackets that have been set up here for the tournament. I thought I'd give you a few thoughts moving in, because I spoke a little bit about it on the Dynamite review last week, but I figured I'd go a little more here as well. First of all, these are all teams that outside of Riho and Alex Windsor, there are no teams here that make me go, what? It's like, where did this come from? I know that I know that Riho and Alex Windsor, they competed together a few times, and I understand that. Don't get me wrong, I get it. I understand. But it still kind of caught me off guard and was like, okay. Whereas most of these other teams have all been frequently on TV, pairing up, looking out for each other. Like, everything about this sort of fell into place. And I have to, and I think we should all commend how Tony Khan has handled the creation of this, or the booking, I should say, like the creation and the booking of this tournament, because it's clearly been a plan that he's been cooking for a few months now. We all saw it coming, right? We all essentially saw this coming with months ago. I mean, the tag team titles, the women's tag team titles they've been ready for, like, physically the objects, the actual belts. They've been done for a while now, for months and months and months. So he's had that. He's always had this in his pocket. When people would ask him, he'd say, I want to wait till the timing's right. I got to do this when the timing's right, because I don't want to flub this. I want the right people in this. And, it's like there were injuries and whatnot. So I understand that he was always a little weary about pulling the trigger on it. But in the meantime, it didn't keep him from creating these teams, so that when we do get to the tournament, none of these really feel out of place, right? There's none of these really feel like they're just dropping in out of nowhere, like they're a World Tag League like they're a World Tag League team in New Japan. They all have, got some history and so on and so forth. So you got to hand it to Tony in this one. He took his time. He made these teams significant, feel like all of these were actual teams, and has led us to this point right here. And I think it's been, I think his booking was very, very good in this circumstance. Where I think the only issue, the only team that I really have an issue with is Mercedes Moné versus Athena, which I didn't think was necessary. And because look, you could have put in any other tag team here. You could have formed another tag team. You could have, brought on board the Renegade Twins, who are a built-in tag team, have been doing this forever, and they're under your employ, Could have literally done this, not years ago, but you could have had the Renegade Twins suddenly show up on Collision, wrestle a couple of matches, get some heat going. There's a lot you could have done. But, Monet and Athena feels a little bit like overkill. And I don't think we really needed them in this, especially considering that there is a very strong possibility that the finals of this tournament are going to be at Full Gear. Well, Mercedes is already going to be wrestling Chris Statlander at Full Gear. Now, I don't know if she's going to pull double duty. I would assume not. I would assume at the very least that the bigger chance is that she will not pull double duty and that her team will be eliminated. So not only do I feel like you could have put another tag team in this situation, you could have, I think you've already telegraphed the finish in regards to Monet and Athena, where they're not going to be going forward. And they're not going to stay a tag team, more importantly. That's the most important part, is that they're not going to stay a tag team. Whereas you could have added 2 women who are on your roster doing nothing and have them have a little tag team. Try your luck making a Brodito for women. I still think Nyla Rose and Yuka Sakazaki would have been a really good combo. I think that would have been legitimately delightful. And I think that would have been instant babyface heat. People would have got into it. And next thing you know, you have a Bandito Brody King situation where this thrown together tag team is picking up tons of steam and the audience is really behind them. So it's like, okay, sure. That could work. Because ultimately what this is supposed to be, right? What this is supposed to be is a showcase of the women's division and how you're creating tag teams for this division. So you should have showcased the maximum that you have that you could also use moving forward. It's not as if Nyla Rose and Yuka Sakazaki are in extreme demand right now, but maybe you could have rekindled some magic, and then suddenly you have an over tag team and just go and you could have used them moving forward. Now I'm using those 2 as an example, but there are other women, on the roster that you're doing jack shit with that you could have easily thrown into this spot here, right? Oh yeah, and Tegan Knox for some reason has been introduced into the TK verse. She was on Collision. I mean, give her the benefit of the doubt, right? But that's the point still stands there. Because Mercedes, as long as she has all these belts, she's not going to be involved in a tag team situation. It's not like Toni Storm, where you still want Toni Storm to be doing something meaningful, something important. You want to have her on your shows because people like her. They want to see her both on TV and live. So you want to keep her involved in what's going on. But, you sort of take her away from the spotlight of the world title, and you take away from you take her away from the shine of the top title, and then you sort of ease her into this, which will instantly generate interest from fans because it's Toni Storm. She's teaming with Mina Shirakawa, which she has, that sapphic relationship with, right? And they'll be able that'll captivate imagination. That'll get people hyped up for it. And I think they should win. And I know this is a point of contention, but I think, you give the titles. It's kind of like when they inaugurated the trios titles. You have them come in, introduce them by putting them around, a top people in your company, a high level person in your company, like a former world champion. Adds prestige, adds interest to it. Tony and Mina can have little defenses, they can rekindle a feud with Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford, and you can have Ford and Bayne take the titles off of them eventually, right? And no harm, no foul. But your titles will feel important. I don't have an issue. I have no issue with Storm and Shirakawa winning. I really don't. I've seen people being iffy about it. Give them to the top person. Make them feel people, I should say. Or in this case, Mina's not exactly a top person in the company. So, that's what I meant. Give them to the title. Give them to the team that has a former world champion in it. It'll legitimize the belts. And then Tony and Mina can have a bunch of defenses afterwards. And you can go through all of these people again. Or other teams, like the Renegade Twins. Or, if you wanted to steal one of my ideas, Nyla Rose and Yuka Sakazaki. It's the most probable outcome, and that's what it should be, really. Like, don't repeat what the Bucks did by losing to Private Party in the first round. Don't do that. Don't do that, because it turned out there was nothing there. There was just nothing there, and the Bucks should have won the titles out the gate. Again, I know why they didn't do it. I know why Kenny didn't win the world title out of the gate either. I understand all the reasons why they did it. They still should have done it. But, hindsight is 2020. They should have absolutely done it. So, that's kind of where I stand now. I think this is an interesting tournament. I think it's really going to, I think most of the matches for the opening round are pretty clear. I think Hayter and Amanada are going to go over the Sisters of Sin. I think Tony and Mina are going to go over their opponents. And I think Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford are going to go over TJ. This one, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure what to do with this match here. Monet and Athena versus Nightingale and Cameron. But I could absolutely see Harley Cameron taking the loss here for the team. Because here's the thing. In my little headcanon, I have Willow Nightingale being the lady who finally beats Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. I know it's probably in the brain of a lot of people, but she's the one she dropped the title to Mercedes when Mercedes came in, and Willow should come full circle a year later and come and pick it up. Like, they haven't been doing much with Willow, but I think that's because her push is about to come. They're waiting for They're just waiting for the right time to initiate the push. So I think Willow in a situation where she continues to lose to Mercedes makes a lot of sense. Where Mercedes just always seems to have her number, so that when they do meet up again, Mercedes can play the super cocky heel saying, yeah, you know what? You can't beat me. You never beat me. You couldn't even beat me in a tag team. So, kind of thing. And that would be tremendous. I think that's an incredible answer to I think that's an incredible answer to a challenge that Willow could lay out. So I'm not so sure, that it's so clear cut, because Willow and Harley could also win. They've been in a tag team longer, I guess, than Mercedes and Athena. They're friends, they get along, there's the chemistry, so on and so forth. The babes of wrath. So I could absolutely see Mercedes losing in the first round too. And maybe you do the opposite. Maybe you do in fact, maybe this is how you set up Willow and Mercedes, because Willow could get the pin on Mercedes, securing a future shot at her title, if we're doing, Japanese rules. But we've done that before in AEW, right? Yeah. No, we've done it before. We did it recently with Bandito and Kazuchika Okada. So maybe that's how you set up Athena and Monet and Willow as well. Maybe that's how you do it too. You have Willow's team go over Mercedes, and she actually pins Mercedes. That could be the way to get into it too. This is the only bracket where I don't feel it's as clear, where the winner is as clean cut. But I think whatever the outcome is, however path we go down here, I think Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa are going to be the winners. These are the people who are going to pick up the belts. So, I've been nitpicky here. A couple of things that disappointed me, but overall, I'm excited to see how this tournament is going to go. I'm excited to see how it's going to go, and how the fans embrace it at the same time. Because look, all these crowds of people, keep telling Tony week after week, book more women's wrestling, or what about the titles, Tony? Well, there you go. There you go. You've got it right here. It's time to embrace it, right? Right? And there's a lot and I'm not saying this like, you're going to have to love what you have. There's a lot of really good stuff in the women's division. You can see it here. You look at some of the teams here and you're like, holy shit. Like there's really some, once we get to the semifinals, you're going to see very quickly high level matches with incredible high caliber performers. It's not as if we're just like dealing with table scraps. We've got some top tier stuff here. So there you go. A few thoughts as we stand on the cusp of this tournament beginning. We will, of course, be covering it as it goes along. It'll be easier and more fun to cover than Super Junior Tag League, which isn't saying much. I'll give you that much, sure. All right, real quick before we leave. My favorite wrestler on planet Earth, Bill Goldberg, was quoted last week being the petty mark bitch that he is, said the following in an interview some girl, when saying about how he lost the streak, right? Some girl at WWE, they did it on purpose. I have nothing against the girl by any means, right? In response to a question about his streak being broken. And he had said in 2024, kind of the same thing, but, you know, not as bitter and pathetic. Still bad. But this is what he said. Well, a girl beat my winning streak. This was in March 2024. Well, a girl beat my winning streak. Beat my undefeated streak. Yeah, I can't even remember. Asuka is her name. Some Japanese girl. I thought he was a bitch for saying it back then. And he's a bitch today for bringing it back up last week. Can you believe it? That this man, this fucking grown adult man who is in his 50s, like me, has this idea where his winning streak, his undefeated streak being broken, still lives rent-free in his head, that it was beaten by some girl. Because that's the kind of petty, self-important mark that he is. A guy who absolutely believes his own hype. This caused a stir, of course. And Asuka responded on Twitter, the formerly known as X, what is it? X, formerly known as whatever the fuck it's called. She responded, she posted a tweet. This is what she said. All class. Asuka did. Goldberg's comments about me are all over the news right now, but honestly, I'm not bothered by it at all. What he said came from his own perspective, and that's fine, so there's really no need to make such a big deal out of it. Listen to my philosophy. It's not about what I accomplish, but it's about what I tried to create. Philosophy and vision, that's where the real value is. I don't find meaning in anything without beauty. I've achieved every record, every title, but those are just milestones. What really matters is opening a new era, creating the moment that separates before Asuka and after Asuka. Having the power to change an era. That's where true value and beauty exist. I don't chase records or championships. They're the ones that come to me. There's not enough art in this world. Just a super classy response to, you know, this jughead moron who hits the pillow at night, closes his eyes, and still thinks about his fucking kayfabe accomplishment being lost to another wrestler who just happens to be a woman, Asuka, right? And uses that at this as if it's a bad thing. Oh, you know, some girl. Just some girl. Knew her name. He mispronounced it, but knew her name in 2024. But now it's like some girl. This is why, like, this is a guy, never forget that he has been gone. He has been away from pro wrestling longer than he has actually wrestled. Always keep that in mind. The hiatuses that he took from pro wrestling are longer than the actual span of his career. And why is that? Well, that's because he thought his farts didn't stink. because he was a mark for himself, a prime #1 mark for himself. That will always be the case with Goldberg. That is his legacy. That is his legacy. A guy who just squeezed everything he could out of the business without ever giving anything back. Now, he might be a little salty at WWE for how they handled his retirement, right? I think this might be it, right? I have nothing against the girl by any means, right? I think he might be a little salty in regards to WWE. Can't say I blame him, but he got as good of a send-off as anyone who hadn't wrestled for like 7-8 years consecutively should be getting. A guy whose own hype and self-worth overshined everything else. He might have been upset that his little acceptance speech got cut off, but what do you want from me? Move on. You know, this dude, he's incredible, right? He's legitimately incredible. He will not let this go. Because this is a guy whose football dreams were destroyed. Because of his injuries, he was like, I will never be able to play pro football. I will never be able to get, any praise or accolades or whatnot in football because I will not be able to practice the sport. And he was given another chance into doing an athletic endeavor for a lot of money in front of thousands of people, in arenas and other types of venues. And he took it and he just lucked out because he had the look, he had the energy, he had the fire. And then he was like, I'm latching on to this and I'm not letting this slip away. I'm going to do everything I can so that this doesn't slip away. And all he did was absorb and take and take. And when things didn't go his way, he hit the bricks. And then he came back to do a couple of matches, but he wouldn't stick around and lose. He wouldn't stick around and start putting other guys over. No, he'd leave again. I've got nothing for this guy. You all know, my dislike for Goldberg is profound and true. It's not even a bit. But I think it's infinitely sad that this guy doesn't even have the presence of mind, the class to just say, yeah, you know what? My streak was beat and, good for Asuka. Now she's the bar and someone eventually in a few years is going to beat her. And why is someone eventually going to beat her? Because it's all scripted, because it's all phony baloney. These are kayfabe accomplishments. Who cares? His streak was even padded with matches that didn't even happen. So he can go fuck himself. At the very least, Asuka worked harder on her streak than he did because every one of her victories did happen. Whereas Goldberg's record was 100% padded. We have the proof. So he can go jump off a cliff. Can you believe just being so deeply into yourself that you can't see past it? You can't see past the situation? Insane. Anyway, just wanted to share that because I thought this was a beautiful quote from Asuka, who was very, very classy. And she was like, it doesn't matter. It's like, because this is someone who understands this is all of this is kayfabe and it doesn't matter. The titles will come to me when it's time. It's fine. It's fine. I don't, it doesn't bother me. Class act. 100% class. Nothing but class. Just the class. So hopefully you also found that this stream was class. When Warren's car got smashed into, he didn't go to Goldberg's garage. Confirmed? Absolutely not. 100% I did not. Anyway, we are going to wrap this one up for today, folks. There you go. Thank you all very much for coming out to hang out on this beautiful Monday Eve. Hope you had a good time, even though, you know, slim pickings when it comes to when it came to the news. But hey, you know what? We got to see the origin story of Jacques Moliere and the Mr. Warren Hayes show. We got to, and that was fun, right? There you go. Shameless plug. I'll be on tomorrow's Spooktacular Music of the Mat with Andrew Rich. Congratulations. Y'all should listen to that then. You should listen to Music of the Mat remixed with Andrew Rich. It's always a fun time. I'm a 2-time guest myself. I love doing the show with Andrew. Just talking about music. It's a good time. I always listen to it. I always like it. Be looking to hear your Halloween. I'm assuming it's Halloween, right? Since you said Spooktacular. Your Halloween picks for the show. I'll see which one of you two, either you or Andrew, picked Monster Mash. Did you go on Goldberg's knife show? No, fuck no. What are we talking about? No. No, I never even watched it. I legitimately cannot stand the man. I don't know why people like him so much. Look, it's nostalgia. That's all there is to it. Good feelings, good vibes when you were a kid, seeing Goldberg do Goldberg things, but can't stand him. I think he's been a sore on pro wrestling. We're not going through all of that. I wrote a beautiful article in the lead up to his final match. It's available on voicesofwrestling.com. You should go read that. That's what we call a proper burial. Good night to you too, Silver Apocalypse. Good night, everyone. We're gonna wrap it up. Should everything be all right, I'll be back on Thursday for another stream. In the meantime, Mr. Warren Hayes show on Wednesday and the Dynamite review on Thursday before the stream. So there you go. Hope you all have a great rest of your evening and a great week on top of that. Thank you all so much for coming out. Go watch some Randy Orton and get back to me, and I'll see you next time.